Alright, so this is going to be a sort of comprehensive review of my 76 BMW 2002 in Fjord Blue and its overall condition in terms of its physical state, electrical state, and mechanical state, of course. So before I start with all that, I suppose I'll talk about its history. I am the fourth owner. I purchased it from a gentleman in Buckhead, which is a neighborhood in the northern section of Atlanta. Very friendly guy, Stephen Phil Race. You'll see him multiple times in the extensive documentation we have of this car. He owned the car for about, it's off the top of my head now, I think he owned it for about 25 years, beginning in, I think, the early 90s. Before him, I can't remember the name of the previous owner, he owned it for a good 15 years, purchased it from a dealership in Nashville. If I go over the records extensively, I think I could tell you that the car was purchased initially as on lease from a BMW dealership, and that initial owner sold it back to the dealership he had leased it from, and the second owner purchased it there in Nashville from that dealership. So that's the story of the four owner period. Again, I'm the fourth. I've had it for about a year, since June of 2017. It's now early May of 2018. My reasons for selling the car, in case you want to hear, probably don't. I'm a college student. I don't have a whole lot of time on my hands. I love to keep it. Insurance costs are a bit high for someone my age, 20 years old. One day I'll have another one, and hell, if I could store this one and make a bit of money on it with it just sitting there, I would, but I don't have the space, time, or money. My loss is your gain. So I suppose we'll jump here to the physical condition of the car. It's spent most of its life in the South, so there's there's about the amount of rust you'd expect for a car of its age, and with the lack of rust proofing they did on these cars, but there isn't a whole lot to deal with. I suppose we'll start from the back and we'll go from there. So as you can see, it appears as if there was some sort of low impact fender bender at some point. This does not show anywhere in the frame. I've been through it, through the trunk, along the frame rails, everything. There's no dents whatsoever to call for. The front bumper was dented as well on the accordion style there. Again, I can't really speak towards why that is so, but nothing shows in the records of an accident or anything, so perhaps someone just backed into a garage or something like that, not too sure. So as for physical state, this is one of the cleaner sides of the car. Going on the fender, not a whole lot of damage. So the belt line trim is all there, as you can see. The knee trim is there on this currently. And now if we go over to the door, you can see the clips for the molding is there, but the molding isn't there. I have both trim pieces that would be included in the sale. There's a dent in this door, and the other one you'll see, the door brakes love to rust out in these cars, and these were none different. And I assume what has happened over time is they were overextended into the passenger fender here, and that caused a dent. I don't know if you could fix those, but if it were me, I'd probably try and fix it. Anyways, so I mentioned the two trim pieces on the door. I do have, again, on the bottom, I have the pieces as well. I forget the name of this trim here, but it's there. I have it. I actually have four of those. So let me look in the door sill here. I've done a bit of mitigation. You can see where I got lazy. The other side of the door sill is a lot better. This is gonna have to come off because I got lazy and didn't finish with the sealant, the filler rather. And as you know, if you don't put primer on it after a while, it always absorbs moisture, and you sure as hell don't want that. So that's gonna have to come off. Start over, but there was no holes, really just surface rust. Same goes for all these spots down here. Nothing extreme. Hey, buddy. Now if we go down to passenger fender, this is the worst part on this side. If it were me, you could probably fix that. I don't know if you're going for Concours repairs. I think I'd fix that instead of replace the whole fender, but you could probably find the fender, well, I know you can, for about 200 bucks a piece. So let's move on to the hood here. Pretty clean. This was just a scratch. It has some surface rust I took care of. That has been primered, so don't really have to worry about that rusting any longer. Come around to the front. Hood is in pretty good shape. If you look hard enough, you can see a bit of dents there. There was some bubbling I took care of here just to mitigate any further rust. Yeah, so the hood's in good shape. Your roundel's a little bit aged, but you can repaint that, buy another one, up to you. It's coming down to the front of the car. Not in the worst shape. If you get down low, paint's starting to go away, but there's not a whole lot of rust. There really isn't any rust, to be honest with you. On the front of the car, I have the original diving board bumper. I took it out because I'm not a huge fan of the looks, and I've been doing some work on the front of the car. Did the front mainsail recently, and it was sort of in the way. Took it out, didn't put it back. I do have it. That will be included in the sale. So moving around to the driver's side of the car, arguably, well, not arguably, definitely the worst side of the car in terms of physical condition. I mentioned the accident again in the accordion part of the bumper. It made its way to the fender. I say accident, I don't know if that's what happened, but clearly there's been some sort of impact. This fender, in my opinion, is gone. I think you need a new one. And that's corroborated by the fact that there's a hell of a lot of rust down here. If you want to get nice and close. But as for the rocker, if you're familiar with these cars, this part of the fender goes all the way down to there. So if you replace the whole fender, all this rust is gone. You don't have to worry about it. As for the rest of the rocker, rust is mostly non-existent. I'll have another video documenting the underside of the car when I get the chance. This door is a little bit worse. Same thing, the door brake rusted out. I have replaced this door brake. Haven't replaced the other side, so that one's in fine condition. What else? Because of that collision, I think the belt line trim there is going to need replacement. I have the trim here and here. Again, don't have the replacement for this bit here. What else? Oh, let's talk about. So yeah, the other side I talked about. Hey, buddy. Talked about having done the sealant on this side. Jesus. What's the name of it? Body filler on this side. I took care of it. There was a bit of surface rust that I was worried was going to go a little bit deeper. So it's been primed. That's all ready to go for paint. Well, depending on your... yeah. It's been a long day. So moving on to the driver's fender, it's again in pretty good shape. Both fenders are in decent shape. Nothing really to replace there. Yeah, I think that's in fairly good shape. You can see this belt line trim is pretty much shot as well. The middle part's fine, but the corner piece is gone. So the two pieces of belt line trim you're going to need to replace are the driver's side corner piece up front on the hood and the driver's side boot corner as well. So again, if you're thrifty like I consider myself to be on the 2002 forum, you can find this piece and that piece for $100 in fairly good shape, if not excellent condition. So that's about it as in terms of exterior condition. I forgot one important thing. Let's talk about the hood, the roof. So on the rain molding here, there used to be a chrome piece on both sides. I pulled it off. There was a heck of a lot of rust here in these sills. This side has been taken care of. I've filled it and primed it, all assessed and ready for the piece to go back on. I have this piece and the other one. They're a little bit bent from removing them, but if you're a patient person, I think you can put them back on. I'm in the process, or I was in the process of dealing with a bunch of bubbles in the hood, the roof. All the residue you hear is masking tape. That'll go away nice and easy if you're a patient person. But yeah, the rust bubbles, I'm really halfway between Bondo and primer and a bunch of spots. So that's, yeah, halfway through. The bubbles haven't gone through the hood anywhere except for under this paint, or under this masking tape. See, that's a little bit scary. I don't have average sized hands, but well, I do rather. That's about as bad as it gets. So when you replace the headliner, as I think you'll have to do, that's going to be on your list to do. So what else? As for exterior condition, I think the rest we have to discuss is a little rust spot there. You're going to need new seals, front and back. I have the front seal, not the lock strip, but the front seal. Excuse me. I have the rear seal, not the front seal, and I don't have the lock strip for both. Yeah, don't have the front seal. They're both pretty gone. As you can see, those will need replacement. All original glass, tinted green. I'm sure you know about it if you're looking at a car from afar, like this from afar. I had the original antenna, so that's that. New tires, they're crappy Walmart tires, but they're good for a car like this that's seeing, you know, very, very occasional use, especially as it's undergoing a rolling restoration as it is. Locking gas cap. So yeah, original Steelies, they'll probably need to be repainted, and by probably I mean they will be. No cracks in the grill or anything. Nothing really explicit to state that you can't see here on this video from the outside. So there it is.